에스더 1장 1절. This is what happened during the time of Xerxes. The Xerxes who ruled over 127 provinces stretching from India to Kush. At that time, King Xerxes reigned from his royal thrones in the citadel Susa. And in the third year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all his nobles and officials, the military leaders of Persia and the Media, the princes and the nobles of the provinces were present. 4절, for 180 days he displayed the vast wealth of his kingdom and the splendor and glory of his majesty. When these days were over, the king gave a banquet lasting 7 days in the closest garden of the king's palaces for all the people from the least to the greatest who were in the citadel Susa. 지금 에스더 1장 읽고 있습니다. 오늘 설교할 내용이라서 6절 The garden has hangings of white and blue linens, fastened with the cords of white linen and purple materials to the silver rings on the marble pillars. There were couches of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of porphyry, marbles, mother of pearl, and other costly stones. Wine was served in goblets of gold, each one different from the others, and the royal wine was abundant, in keeping with the king's liberality. 8절. By the king's command, each guest was allowed to drink in his own way, for the king instructed all the wine steward to serve each man what he wishes. King Vashti also gave a banquet for the women in the royal palace of King Xerxes. 10절. On the 7th day, when King Xerxes was in high spirits from wine, he commanded the 7 eunuchs who served him, Muhammad, Bitsa, Habona, Abigta, Abagta, Azar, and the Sexas, to bring before him the queen Vashti, and wearing her royal crown in order to display her beauty to the peoples and the nobles, for she was lovely to look at. 12절. 지금 우리가 하고 있는 거는 NIV 오늘 하나님 말씀 전가할 때 본문 읽어보는 거. 12절. But when the attendant delivered the king's command, Queen Vashti refused to come, and when the king became furious and burned with anger. When it was customary for the king to consult experts in the matters of law and justice, he spoke with the wise men and who understood the time and the words closest to the kings, Kashkar, Shashkar, Admat, Tarshish, mayors, Marshan, and Muhammad, the 7 nobles of Persia and Media who had a special cross to the king and were the highest in the kingdom. She was, according to laws, what must be done to Queen Vashti, as she has not obeyed the command of King Xerxes, the eunuchs had taken to her. 16절. The Memucan replied in the presence of the king and the nobles, Queen Vashti had done wrongs not only against the king but also against all the nobles and the peoples of all the provinces of King Xerxes. 17, 17절. For the king's conduct will becomes known to all the women, and so they will despise their husbands and say, the King Xerxes commanded Queen Vashti to be brought before him, but she would not come. This very day, the Persian and the Median woman of the nobility who have heard about the queen's conduct will respond to all the king's nobles in the same way. There will be no end of disrespect and discord. 19절. Therefore, if it pleases the king, and let him issue a royal decree, and let it be written in the laws of the Persians and the Media, which cannot be repealed, that the Vashti was never against to enter the person of King Xerxes also. Let the king give her royal positions to the someone else who is better than she. 20절. Then when the king's edict is proclaimed throughout all his vast realms, all the women will respect their husbands from the least to the greatest. The king and his nobles were pleased with the advice, so the king did as Muhammad Khan proposed. He sent dispatch to all the part of the kingdom, to each province in its own script, and to each people in their own language, proclaiming each people's tongues that every man should be rulers over his own household.